Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Oh, 1 second there. Forgot about having that back on. Bam. Good morning. Sammy United People's TV here to kick off another week. And what's this? The fourth Monday in a row that I've been able to come here with a big smile on my face. I very much enjoyed January as far as the results go. And I enjoyed that the weekend. United beating Spurs, a really good weekend of results in the Premier League. We're going to run through everything that happened. All the results. Villa dropping points. Liverpool dropping points. United now 5 points clear in the hunt for the Champions League. Tomorrow night we play West Ham. And then we've got a 13-day gap between West Ham and Everton. Can we make it 5 from 5? I'll run through everything. We'll speak about the game. We'll speak about Carrick, Kobbie, Bruno. We'll also have a little conversation about Sandro Tonali. Did a video yesterday, reaction from the news from the Telegraph. And as always, I'll get involved in the chat. Who did what this weekend? Who had a good weekend? What did you get up to? Let me know. Let me say hello to everybody. Let's go on with today's show, shall we? We've got JC, good morning to you. Steph, you're there. Alex, you're there as well. Ant, good morning to you. Carl. We've also got some members. We've got Saeed, we've got Teclon Richard, we've got Moonraker, Sam Turner, how you doing, buddy? And some non-members. We've got Wesley, got Raoul XT, we've got Matt James and Francis. Good morning to all of you. What do you think about this then, Pete's, by the way? This is the refreshed, well, actually not quite the complete refreshed look. It's supposed to be a brand new TV there, which is currently on the floor because the screen's smashed. I don't know how the hell that happened, but I'm in talks trying to get a replacement sent. So that didn't quite work out. But yeah, you've got the shirt display here down there. You've got the 5 Cantonars, the current team, some icons, some old captains, and just some cracking players down there. I'm going to get a little bit more lighting for it. It's not quite lit enough for me yet. I want to get a little spotlight on the gong. And obviously we've updated the wall up there. It's good. It's feeling a little bit fresher, and I think that's kind of what I wanted. So yeah, thank you very much. I can see. Kev, you're a big fan. CR33, you're enjoying it. Yeah, it's a little bit neater than it was before. I think that's a good way to describe it. Rich is saying, is it fair to say we're playing some of the most beautiful football in the league? Well, I don't know what anyone else is doing, but I don't really care what anyone else is doing. But I tell you what, I don't know the answer to this question. When was the last time that you heard United fans in Old Trafford like giving the ole after every pass? Ole! Ole! Yay! It feels like it's been a long time since United fans have reached the point in a game where we can actually enjoy it like that. For real. That's probably the thing I'm going to say that I'm enjoying the most is it looks like United are having fun. We're starting to just do one-touch football. We're starting to play football. That's kind of what I think. Mr. Menu asking, would Tonali be good for us as a Casemiro replacement? We'll have that Tonali conversation probably about half an hour's time, towards the end of today's show. Should we get on with it? Let's go. As always, please do get involved in the chat. The latest episode of the pod is out. Me, Dan, and Nick last night. As I said, we're trying our hardest to be as really consistent as we possibly can with the pod now. And we're hitting it 2 times a week. So the next episode will be recorded on Wednesday night. It's going to be me and Dan because I think Nick's busy. Scumbag. Part-timer. Unbelievable. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. It's out on Spotify. And if you would prefer to wait, the video will be dropped tonight at around about 8 p.m. 7:30, 8 p.m. Okay? Hope you enjoy it. We're enjoying doing the pods right now. Shall we run through the weekend's results in the Premier League? It's what we always do on a Monday. Okay? Let's have a look. Leeds beating Forest 3-1 on the Friday night game. Who cares? United beating Spurs. I know how much I dislike early kickoffs, but it is really nice being able to go into the 3 p.m. kickoffs and just sit there knowing that United have got the job done and just looking at other games and just hoping for slip-ups whilst you're sat there safe in the knowledge that United have already got their 3 points. I quite enjoyed that this weekend. Arsenal getting the job done against Sunderland. Bournemouth getting the job done against Villa. 2 more drop points from Villa. West Ham, who, by the way, are in pretty good form, winning 2-0 away at Burnley. Chelsea, quite convincing, really, against Wolves. Newcastle. Newcastle booed off at half-time, booed off at full-time. Where are they in the league now? Are they like 12th or something? Damn. Newcastle are 12th. No wonder Tonali's agent is doing the rounds. Anyway. And, of course, I had 2 games yesterday. Man, that Palace game was whiffy at best. Not an enjoyable game. And again, Brighton were booed off. Not going well for Herzog. And yesterday, that game, I don't think, it is a good result for us as far as our Champions League push goes. Because it's this result which has allowed us to become 5 points clear of them and to create that gap. But the end of that game was a right farce, wasn't it? I'm sure you all saw it. The VAR decision, Szoboszlai pulling Haaland back, but then Haaland ended up pulling Szoboszlai back and they both fall over and the ball just rolls in. And then VAR pulls it back. He gets a red card. The goal didn't stand. It's just, it just felt unnecessary. That's such a City thing. That's such a Pep thing to do. I don't know. Like, the way that they turned that round towards the end. Like, over these last few years, I just got used to City being this, like, indomitable force towards the end of the seasons when it matters. Anyway, let's speak about what that does to the table. Like, ladies and gents, like, how can you not have a big old smile on your face? I'm going to say that again. We are 5 points clear in the hunt for the Champions League. So, as you all are aware, because English teams have done very well in the coefficient, I can't say as far as guaranteed because, you know, certain things could happen. But it is extremely likely that England will get 5 places in the Champions League this year, just like we did last year. So therefore, finishing 5th is going to be enough for the Champions League. Therefore, right now, we've got a 5-point gap. Now, we know that United play West Ham on Tuesday. So, what I'm going to take a look at now, what other games are there where there could be drop points? And there's one I'm staring at straight away. So, Chelsea playing Leeds. I suppose you back Chelsea for that. Everton are home to Bournemouth. Spurs are playing Newcastle. Neither of them are really challengers. They're like 12th and 15th, so we'll just ignore those two. We're playing West Ham away, not an easy one. Villa at home against Brighton, you would kind of back them to do well. Palace against Burnley, City against Fulham, nah. Forest against Wolves, but that one there. Sunderland against Liverpool. Bearing in mind, I think that Sunderland have got an undefeated home record this season, don't they, in the Premier League? I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they've never lost a game. Let me turn that up a little bit there. Looks a little bit better. Yeah. That could well be some more drop points for Liverpool. I think so. Given how Sunderland have been playing at home this season. And if United can therefore go into this game against West Ham tomorrow night, and it won't be an easy one, and we'll speak about that a little bit later in the show. We'll end the show by speaking about West Ham. Michael Carrick is not going to have a press conference because it's only a few days between the games. So typically what happens, he'll get asked about the West Ham game in an embargo press conference that happens after the Spurs game. So those quotes are going to come out at 1:30 today. Best case scenario, this is best case scenario. Come Wednesday night and the show that we have on Thursday morning, United could be 8 points clear. And that's the size of that gap, depending on what happens with the Brentford game. Who are Brentford playing? And, well, of course, what happens in the Liverpool game, which we just spoke about there. Brentford are at home against Arsenal. Well, this just feels like another opportunity. I say an opportunity. Look at West Ham's form. Won 3 out of their last 4 there. They're down in 18th, but they are hitting some form. I think they've won 4 out of the last 5, I swear, overall. Is that in all competitions? It might be. Not sure. But let's run through the game. In fact, I'll go down to the chat for a minute or two first, and then we'll head into speaking about the game against Spurs and some talking points. All right? Jay's saying Sunderland are a good side. I love what they've been doing this season. They've been really impressive, man. They really have been impressive. Paul's saying we play Villa on the 15th of March. It could get us into 3rd place. I mean, why not? It's why I titled the video how I did yesterday. I really am starting to believe that this United team now has the ability to not let me down. Went into that Spurs game confident, not arrogant, but confident. They didn't let me down. I'm going into this West Ham game confident. I actually think it's going to be probably a harder game than Spurs, but I'm still confident. But what are you saying down here in the chat? Mania, good morning to you, dude. Gifting 10 memberships. Can I say that, members-wise, we're going to be bringing out some new emojis. We've been waiting and working on these for a long time. So hopefully all of you in the chat can have some more fun. That's going to be one thing that's coming soon. So keep your eyes peeled. Andy saying, screw the others. Just keep winning. One game at a time. Of course, that's what Carrick will be saying. But let's run through it and let's speak about the Spurs game. First thing I want to say about that is I hope you enjoyed the pre-match show. We had like a good, an hour and 15 show. Build up to the game. We ran through the team news. We spoke about the tactics. You let me know what you thought ahead of the game. And we just had a good old chat, really. This is something that I feel like I should have been doing these sooner. But better late than never, I would say. So these are going to be a new part of the matchday routine here at United People's TV. Going to be there around about an hour and a half-ish before kickoff. And they're right up until 15 minutes before kickoff, because then that gives me a little bit of time to prepare and get stuff ready. And it was just good to be able to chat with all of you ahead of the game. So if you've got any ideas of things that you would like to see brought into this show, maybe ways that we can interact a little bit more or some fun things, reach out to Maddie or Alex on Discord, throw the suggestions there, and it will come back to me. I'm going to try and elevate it every single show to make it slightly better than the one before. All right? So I hope you enjoyed it, because I did. All right, let's go on. What's everyone's main takeaway from that game against Spurs then? Yeah, sure, the red card helped. Yeah, sure. But I think United would have won anyway. I was a little bit surprised that United didn't press Spurs more in the opening 15. I think I spoke about that quite a lot. Simply because it felt like we could force Spurs into mistakes that they've been making all season. But we actually kind of stepped off them a little bit. It's almost like we invited them to pass the ball to Van de Ven before pressing in order to force him to play it long. By the way, I was interested in that. And also there was a little bit of a shift from Carrick in terms of positions. Because you saw Mbeumo was hanging out really wide left quite a lot of the time. Then sometimes Bruno was on the left. And remember that Bruno scored his goal from coming in the back post on the left. So it kind of felt like the players were chopping and changing. Fluidity, I suppose. That's kind of what you got with that front four. Philip is saying, why was Lacey not on the bench? I'm pretty sure that he picked up I think it was a calf injury. I don't know whether it's serious or not, but I really, really, really hope it's not, for his sake. If anybody's been following the progress of Shea Lacey over these last couple of years, you will know how much injuries have slowed his progress. So fingers crossed it's only something minor. Let's have a look down here. We're getting more and more comfortable on the ball, says Gabriel. We were in control before the red, so we would have won anyway. We should have scored at least 4. Well, we scored 2. We had the ball in the back of net again, twice from offsides. Both quite close. Would I do the pre-match show when United are in the Champions League as well? Absolutely. The pre-match show is going to be a staple on this channel now. Every single game, all right? What makes United keep Carrick next season, Walter? Look, and I don't mean this in like a disrespectful way to you, Walter, but I'll just say to any United fan, I'm not going to have this conversation after every game. It is utterly pointless. The conversations around what will happen with Carrick don't need to exist in February. They don't need to exist in March. You can probably start having them in April. April time will be a point at which we've seen enough of Carrick as United manager to really make a bit of a fair judgment. Because I think with Carrick, and I'll run through what Gary Neville has had to say in the latest on the Manager Talk, but there's just no point talking about it after every game. Just enjoy the football you're watching, enjoy the progress, and if we can continue making that development and progress, then it will be part of that conversation. But just not anywhere near now. There's no point. It's February. So what's the point? Sam, are we top of the disallowed goal league? Not sure, but we've got 5 goals against City and Spurs ruled out for offside. That's 2 games, 5 goals ruled out. It's mad. Gricky's saying, first time sat in Old Trafford in years where I've not once felt that we were in trouble or going to concede or lose. We bossed the game. I think that's exactly why towards the end of the game you heard everybody, ole, doing that. That's what United fans felt like watching that game in the stadium. Right, let's speak about some individuals. Actually, let's speak about Carrick first. Is there anything you felt that you learned watching that game against Spurs that we hadn't seen in the first 3 wins against City, Arsenal and Fulham? I'm trying to think. I think all the games have been slightly... That City and Arsenal had quite a similar sort of tempo. Not really, because we dominated City, and Arsenal was like a to and fro, and we conceded a late equaliser, but then went on to score the winner. Fulham, we were cruising in that game, really. And then probably there was about a 10-minute period in that game against Spurs where it looked like they might be stringing Nah, that was it. Mark's saying we effectively beat a low block. Well, it's kind of a different low block because, first of all, we had a 1-goal lead before they went into the low block. And when you go down to 10 men, it's quite a standard thing. Take off an attacker, drop into a 4-4-1. That's a pretty normal shape when a team goes down to 10 men. So the fact that we already had... If Spurs hadn't have conceded before Romero got a red, I would have been a lot more... Was it 0-0 at that point? I can't actually remember. It might have been. Just completely forgot. That was a good set piece goal. Rich saying, who is our set piece? We need to name them. We're going to be doing a little short on him today. Kaita Hasegawa. Because actually, he's been at the club since 2022. And it wasn't just Carlos Fernandes. And this is something that Carrick actually called out in a good way. He credited Johnny Evans. Apparently, so we scored after the red. Well, in that sense, we did beat a low block. Fair play. Oh, it makes such a difference, man. It makes such a difference to this United team being a consistent threat from set pieces. If you're talking about breaking low blocks down, set pieces right up there in terms of, I think, early crosses into the box, shots from outside the box, and set pieces. 3 ways where you can certainly break a low block down. 86 saying we haven't really played a low block. They went into one with 10 men. Let's find out against West Ham. As far as... I'll take a little bit of a deeper look before I do the starting 11 video later today. But I imagine that's kind of exactly how Nuno sets them up. They've got Somerville on the break. They've got Bowen on the break. And West Ham will probably sit into a disciplined shape and then try and hit on the counter. I mean, it's clearly been working for them in these last few games. Stelio, he's saying, Licha's been a joy to watch in these last few games. He's just been a joy to watch since he's come back. I think I might do a video on Licha tomorrow. We'll find out. Paul, you're saying Tessa will come when Carrick needs to bring in other players. Can't really go until the end of the season with the same 11. Well, that might be something that we see against West Ham, for example. Because I kind of disagree with you there, saying you can't really go to the end of the season with the same 11. Well, you can if you're playing 1 game a week. That's exactly what you can do. However, we're playing 3 days after we're playing Spurs. So there might be some changes. Casemiro, I'm sure you were as well. We spoke about this, didn't we? When it comes to Casemiro, it feels like United's fitness largely has been much better this season. So you're not seeing too many muscular injuries. Now, we are seeing some, like Dorgu's hamstring against Arsenal. But the freak injuries, you can't really stop. And that was just a horror tackle. And Casemiro's ankle really went under. So, fair play for him for continuing in the way that he did. What are we saying down here? We need to put some respect on Dallow's name. I already did that after the video. Well, in the video yesterday. Props to him. And this might be a bombshell moment here, but Diogo Dalot is a better fullback than he is a wingback. But play your players in their best positions. Dalot's never been like a... He's always annoyed me when he switched off at the back post. A little bit like Wan-Bissaka used to do that as well. But Dalot's just looking a lot more confident. Now he's in a role where he's not really been tasked with going forward as much. Yeah, he gets forward, sure. But it's not his priority now. And especially when you've got the Carrick build-up shape and Luke Shaw's pushing up because the other one, Dalot, tucks in and makes a 3 at the back. It's just better. I want to show you this table here. This is the table of results against the top 6. So United, in the big games this season, we've been delivering. Whether that's Arsenal, Spurs don't really count in this anymore. Don't know where they are. 14th. Shame. It's nice to put a bit of misery on Spurs after the misery they gave me last season. Bastards. Liverpool beat them. City beat them. Arsenal beat them. Chelsea. What was the Chelsea score earlier this season? I can't even remember. Oh, Stephanie, do not mention Dalot and open goals against West Ham. I'll get PTSD thinking about that bad boy. Did it. Got to get Casemiro to sign a 1-year extension. No, Casemiro's going. And it's the right call. Right? It's the right call. But replacing him is not going to be easy. I probably wouldn't say it's possible in one midfielder. In terms of, I just don't think there's going to be a midfielder that can add the sort of experience that he adds, the aerial threat that he adds, the ability in the duels. Obviously, there's going to be physical weaknesses for Casemiro that other players will improve on. But there will be elements of his game that you can't replace. Speaking of players you can't replace. Oh, Sanchez red card. That was it. That was after like 2 minutes, wasn't it? It's mad, isn't it? Just sometimes your brain just goes completely forgets. Now, I really hope that there's going to have to be a dedicated Bruno Fernandes section in every single show that I do between now and the end of the season. And this is another one. Man of the match from Bruno. Do you think the question I asked in the pod, do you think Bruno Fernandes is having his best season in a Manchester United shirt? Or maybe it's a slightly different question. Do you think this will go down as his best season at Manchester United? Let me know what you think in the chat. I think if you're going to probably isolate the best version of Bruno, you might go for the initial version of Bruno that came in January, and just between then and the end of the season, he was nuts. But that was like a 4 or 5 month period, right? He's got to be in line for, like, I'm not even talking Man United's player of the season. I'm just talking player of the season. Is there another midfielder who is more informed than Bruno in any team? Cherky? I mean, he's kind of a different sort of player. I wouldn't say anybody in that Arsenal team has been pulling up trees right now. Wirtz? No chance. Who else? I don't know. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Not his best, but his most important. I'm not sure, man. Don't have to make this opinion. Don't have to, I suppose, fully round out this opinion until, well, April, May time. So we've still got a couple of months. But just the path that he is on, the form that he is in, he's on for his best season in the United shirt. Already got double figures for goals and double figures for assists. Top of the assist chart. Influencing every single game. Did a lot of it from a position which he didn't really want to play in as well. JC, good morning to you, dude. Thank you for gifting some memberships as well. All of you. Icons. Please get in the Discord. His consistency is unreal. His first full season was great. Stats. Well, I'm not talking about stats. I'm talking about what I'm witnessing and the influence I'm seeing from Bruno. Do you think he's sort of like changed his game a bit this year as well? Feels a little bit, what am I going to say? Matured? Measured? Seems a little bit less reckless. Sometimes. But hasn't been a better mid than Bruno worldwide the last couple of years, says Dudley. Guimaraes, oh, he's had a good one. Hey, Rodgers, okay, that's a fair point. Now you're putting in some, Morgan Rodgers is a fair point. I'll probably put him up there with him. Nah, Declan Rice. Maybe a little bit. Oh, mate, that Šeško header. Oh. I can't believe I think Šeško had no idea how much time he had. Just a little I don't even think there was a defender around him. I'm not sure if there was a defender in the box. He had all the time in the world to take a touch, have a cup of tea, change his clothes, put it into the top corner. What was he saying down here? Still think he runs around too much, says Chris. No, I think that's actually actively encouraged when you're playing in a number 10 role. The problem of him doing that in central midfield was you'd leave a space behind. But now you've got Cass and Kobbie behind him. Bruno's got a little bit more freedom. Luke saying Rodgers is inconsistent. Mate, Rodgers is definitely not inconsistent. Bloody good footballer, that bloke. Seriously is. V33 saying would have passed the 20 assists if not for Amram. He was still delivering the numbers when he was playing deeper. It's mad, isn't it? Oh, mate, that couldn't your first time hit that nearly went in. Jeez. That's such a mad stat. For two reasons it's a mad stat. One, look at the company that Bruno is in. The fewest matches to 200 United goal involvements in the Premier League era. And number two, Wayne Rooney being number one. He joined when he was 18, man. So for him to do that shows how impactful Rooney was straight away at Manchester United. What an absolute unicorn of a footballer. We got his shirt there. There he is. Someone's asking, Sam, you got too many Cantonars? No, I've got 5 Cantonars. Come on, people. Use your noggin. Anyway, class from him. I thought this was class as well. Ali McCoist, I'm sure you heard it in the commentary, was absolutely convinced that Bruno Fernandes meant what he meant with that finish. And this is what he said about it.
Meant it.
Yeah, because I think that if you go with your feet, the probability of the ball going very, very high is big because it's bouncing in front of you. So, yeah, some people will say that it was not meant it, but it was actually meant it because I knew the ball then would have gone straight into the floor. And obviously, Vicario there has to move with the ball, so I just tried to go across him to make him not able to jump and get the ball there. Anyhow.
He knows what he was doing. It was a great finish. What a bloke. Man, I love him. I actually kind of... Nick mentioned this in the pod yesterday. I'll ask you. Bruno is now 31. If you were to put a prediction down as to what happens for Bruno and his career in these next 3 years, what would you anticipate is going to happen? The way that Bruno's fitness has been his whole career, like typically if you were to look at a 31-year-old midfielder who bases a lot of the success of his game off energy, movement, dynamism in the same way that Bruno does, you'd think at 31 he'd start to tail off and he'd start to be less impactful. But Bruno's physical output has always been a bit of an anomaly as far as footballers go. You kind of expect him to be going for a lot longer. Like, and Nick was even saying, yeah, I'll give him a new 3-year contract, man. Man, I would love it if Bruno is here long enough for us to actually have a season of properly competing for the title. I was convinced that he was going to be leaving in the summer. Convinced. Because I thought that Amram was going to be a success. I thought, therefore, Kobbie's pathway would have been blocked. Therefore, the club wouldn't have really allowed that. And therefore, I think they would have moved Bruno on. But I don't think that needs to be the case anymore. If we're going to be playing in this formation 4-2-3-1, there's space for Kobbie. And Kobbie, again, was fantastic against Spurs. And space for Bruno in the same team. Neil, you saying he can evolve like Scholes did? No, because Scholes dropped deeper. And Scholes ended up being more of a deep central midfielder who moved a lot less. It's kind of the opposite of what we want. We've seen that this season for Bruno, and that's not how you get the best out of him. And also, actually, in the Premier League now, if you're looking at the most physically demanding positions in a team, you're looking at central midfield. The amount of ground coverage is just insane. So I actually don't think that's a place for older players, and we've seen that with Casemiro. More saying Bruno either goes this summer as United want to cash in, or we keep him until his mid-30s and see if he can become a number 8. Well, he already is number 8. Oh, I see what you mean. He's dropping deeper. That number 10 role in this, I suppose it kind of depends on what manager we get in and what system we play next. Because in this system in particular, with 2 midfielders protecting him behind him, Bruno's just a little bit free to just focus on what he does best. Nico saying, I think Bruno should retire at the club, lifting the Prem. I would let him play on until he's 34. Bruno can give us 3 more years at the top with DMs who have more legs. Intelligence over pace. Bruno will be a Modric, someone says down here. That was also mentioned on the pod. He should retire here at United. But what I would do to give Bruno a younger Casemiro. Imagine that. We've got Kobbie behind him now. We just need to get the perfect partner. And we'll speak about Tonali a little bit later. Obviously, we've spoken about Anderson. Question I want to ask you, I don't know the answer to this. That release clause that we found out about with Bruno, I think it was somewhere between 50 and 60 mil, wasn't it? For any team outside of the Premier League. Now, with that release clause, is that something that United are obligated to accept? I don't quite know. I think that release clause got put into his contract because we only found out about it. I think, who was it? The BBC or something like that? I swear it was somewhere between 50 and 60 mil. Obviously, that's when United were rejecting the offers from Saudi and keeping him at the club, which was the correct thing to do. And I'm glad that they did that. Bruno should have got an assist there for Šeško, surely. And you're saying, I'd love Bruno to be another season to help guide his eventual replacement. Well, you're not going to replace Bruno, let's be honest. Not in one individual. Let me see what else he's saying. Bruno's having the same effect as Teddy Sheringham. Maybe a different style of play, but his economy will allow for a longer career. Clinton is saying release clauses are only said to be rejected by the player. Of course, yeah, the player has to accept. Mate, Bruno gives... He cares so much about this club. I think that's why I love him so much. Anyway, someone else who was playing alongside Bruno, well, who wasn't playing because of Bruno, but now is Kobbie. And it feels like we're having a conversation after every game about Kobbie in particular because of what's happened so far this season. This is a player that we all wanted to see in the team more. A player who was ostracised by Amorim because he physically couldn't play in that role, which he's proven incorrect. Kobbie's been great. Spurs game was another game where I think he was really impressive. Central midfielders don't have to take the headlines. But when central midfielders make mistakes and they leave holes in the midfield, then they really stand out. But Kobbie's not done that really at any point in these last 4 games. He's going to be in that England squad. It's a bit like when Kobbie broke through in his first season at United because he didn't make his debut that season, I think, until Everton away. Remember that? He was playing like a deeper number 6 position. And that was the year, I think that was the year that England got to the Euros and he went and then he ended up starting. Remember, he was left out of the team in the first, 2 games by Gareth Southgate and then started every single game the whole way through to the final. Carrick was speaking about Kobbie after the game, saying this. He goes, there's definitely more to come from him. That's just his age. He goes, it's just the stage he's at. The stage he's at in his career, you like to think he's just starting out, really, essentially. He's got so much experience under his belt in big games and pressured situations, which are going to help him develop. Playing next to Casemiro and learning off him, things that he's probably not even realising he's picking up just by being next to him. I think that's part of his journey to learn and develop. And I think, well, Kobbie couldn't really have a better coach than Michael Carrick. Let's be real. And it's certainly working out so far. Do you think Casemiro and Mainoo start against West Ham? I think he'd like them to, but there might be a question about Casemiro's ankle and maybe fitness, given that we're playing twice in 3 days. As an England fan, Sam, what's your honest midfield for the World Cup without bias? Look, dude, again, you can't have this conversation in February. I think Declan Rice is a guarantee. Mate, Morgan Rogers. I really, really like Morgan Rogers. So I'd like to get him in probably. But I don't know what's going to be happening. And who's that partner going to be for, right? Is it going to be Kobbie? What about Elliot Anderson? England are pretty stacked in midfield, let's be honest. I don't know how really you choose 2 or 3. Big up to everyone, man. Gungshi dropping in 10 and Frank dropping in 5 memberships. All of you. Thank you so much. Make sure you join the Discord, please. It's free. But yeah. Rice, Rogers, Anderson, Kobbie. It's a hyper-competitive midfield for the World Cup. So Kobbie's got to bring his absolute A game if he's going to have a chance of getting into that starting 11. And he wants to get in there. And we haven't even mentioned Bellingham here. That's what I mean. Hyper-competitive. The way he's playing right now, Kobbie's going to be going to the World Cup. You'd be amazed if he didn't. I think Rice is a guarantee. Personally. We'll find out. But somebody at the opposite end of his career, and I thought this was a really poignant moment, might be the wrong way to describe it, but it just felt so fitting that on the game, which was the anniversary of the Munich air disaster, that Michael Carrick brought Kobbie Mainoo off, a current academy graduate who's in the first team now, to give Tyler Fletcher his debut at Old Trafford. I'll tell you what, Tyler Fletcher looked good. There were a couple of passes in like tight situations as well. Different sort of player to Jack, but that's both of the Fletcher lads who have made their debuts this season. Shea Lacey's made his debut as well. So is that 3? Is there any other players who have made their debut so far this season? Not quite sure. Can't remember. But Bruno down there, first of many. Rooney sending a message in as well. I think he can be delighted, man. I think Carrick was happy that he was able to give him his chance. What a year for the Fletchers. Both the lads making their first team debuts. Darren Fletcher coming in, managing the team for 2 games. Yeah, man. I would say, do you reckon he chose 39 because of Scott McTominay? Oh, Mantato, he made his debut as well. Thank you very much for that. That was right towards... What game was that? Was that a Brighton game? Can't remember. Yeah, I did see James Scanlon scored. Scanlon scored on loan at Swindon. Jacob Devaney scored, I think, 1 man of the match as well in his second game for St Mirren. Toby Collier made his debut for Hull. And I'm pretty sure Gabriel Bianchetti made his debut for Rotherham. All in all, good week. It's been mentioned down there as well. Yeah, in terms of Discord, I'm mentioning all of you to go in there. Join in there at 7 p.m. tonight because Nick and Dan from the podcast will be in doing a voice chat and a Q&A with all of you. So it's your chance to meet the lads. And it's just their opportunity to be able to get involved with members of the community. So make sure you go in there and get involved. Anyway, congratulations to Tyler Fletcher. Because in midfield, I mean, there's many a conversation we're having in midfield. Let's have this one now. Right? I'm going to ask you down here. Yes or no? No. Sandro Tonali. A good move? Yes or no? There you go. There's the poll. If you missed what the story was, let me run through it and cover it now. Because this came from the Telegraph last night. Saying that Newcastle's Sandro Tonali is high on United's shortlist to replace Casemiro. He wants a guarantee of Champions League football. Newcastle, they're having a naff season. Booed off at full time against Brentford. Middle of the league. Unlikely to get in Champions League football unless they win the competition. And I think they're in the knockout round against Carabag. Or Carriabag, as I always call them. United put Tonali high on their shortlist. He's expected to be at the heart of another transfer saga. Juve have got interest in bringing him back to Serie A. But United have got him high on the list of midfielders alongside Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton. So no mention of Carlos Baleba there. But Tonali. Mate, he is a good midfielder. I don't really think that there's too much to be asked about attitude or work rate or strengths or wit. Mate, you know full well that he'd fit into United's midfield. You know full well that he'd be an elite level. He's like Elliot Anderson level. And arguably, there's going to be... Not arguably. He is more experienced. He does have a few years on him. He has played Champions League football and the highest level, and he's played out in Italy too. He does have more experience. Price tag, I honestly don't think... I can see... I'll go and read some of your comments out down here. Like someone's saying 70 mil. Let me explain to you why 100 mil. It's actually a fair price. It's actually a fair conversation at that point. Newcastle paid 50. First of all, just the market of midfielders, it's just nuts. There is just a price point about midfielders that kind of doesn't really apply to any other role, firstly. So current context is important. Secondly, Newcastle paid 55 mil for him. He's now had 3 seasons at Newcastle, and he's got better every season there. He's still only 25. He's just signed a new contract until 2029. Yeah. He's a 100 mil player on paper. He's basically the same level, price point, and quality-wise as Elliot Anderson. I think all the other midfielders kind of, maybe you can put Adam Morton into that, but even I'd still probably put Anderson and Tonali up just kind of on their own level right now. Let me see what you're saying down here. All depends on the price tag. He's a good player for sure, says Rob, for the right price, but absolutely I fear Newcastle want 100 mil. I've just explained why they would ask for 100 mil. Quite a few of you are saying 100 mil was too much. But you'd probably say the same thing about Elliot Anderson, wouldn't you? It's just the price of midfielders. And you're saying, I think, stay away from Tonali. I don't really look into that betting thing as much as maybe I should. I don't know. From a playing style perspective, that'd be amazing. More comments, I'm going to read some out. Dr. Tosh, good player, but not 100 million good. And not the correct profile for replacing Casemiro. Former gambling issues, major risk. Well, I wouldn't go down that. I just wouldn't put it down as a major risk. I think you put it down as a, well, we'll have a conversation about this. So in terms of the character assessment, that's definitely something that will come up. But no, I don't think so. Someone's saying that Tonali is a gamble, though. I'll get you there. There's a premium price for midfielders for 100 mil that Kobbie will get. Nah, Kobbie wasn't leaving. Everyone's a 100 mil player. Anderson, I wouldn't say everyone's a 100 mil player. Elliot Anderson will be because, well, he's going to be the most in-demand player in the Prem. There's a chance Forest go down as well. That'd be a shame. After what their owner did, I kind of would like them to go down. Elliot Anderson and Tonali probably in the 100 mil category. Wharton, I think, is below that. I think Wharton's around 75. Carlos Baleba, the way that he's been playing, I think good luck, Brighton, trying to get more than 60 now. You're probably going to hold on to him, but you might just be holding on to a depreciating asset. I don't think there's any chance, by the way, Jonas, of Anderson and Tonali. I think if United were lucky enough to get either of them, I think it would be an incredible coup. I don't think there will be any sort of realm where you get both. And especially when you think that what we actually want next season is somebody to slot alongside Kobbie. Do I think that we could afford Anderson and Tonali? Hey, look, I did a video of the week on Friday running through United's finances, speaking about the lost money from the training ground sponsor. No, lost money from the training kit sponsor, but also from nobody sponsoring the training ground. I just get this sneaky feeling that United are going to try and get someone to do both and put that in a big deal. And also we're losing our shirt sponsor, the corporate stagnation that's happened, the fact that we've spent just under 300 mil of our max 350 on the credit card. Does that mean United are going to bump that up to 500 mil? That credit card, I don't know. They probably could. They put it up in the summer, and that caught us all by surprise. We need to sell big this summer. Big time. We're going to get money in for Hoyland, hopefully. Rashford. Sancho's gone. And others too. Viv, you're saying leave him. 100 mil, we could get 2 good midfielders for 120 to 140. 250 mil for 2 mids. A left back and a right back. In that sense, then just ignore Elliot Anderson. If you're going to ignore Tonali for the price, then you have to ignore Elliot Anderson for the price. That's just the truth. Football transfers and numbers have become, I'm not going to say wildly unrealistic, because it is realistic. It's just, this is the way the market has gone. The Premier League is the Super League. 100 mil players. You know, like Chelsea have signed a 100 mil player. Liverpool have. Arsenal have. City have. It's only United who haven't. In terms of that traditional top clubs. This feels like the summer where that is going to happen. This is where United join the 100 mil gang, whether that's for Tonali, whether that's for Anderson. That midfielder that we consider our midfield marquee signing, if, of course, all of this depends on whether we get Champions League or not. But if we do, this is the summer that we're going to break that 100 mil mark. So, in that sense, you put Tonali in that list. Now, Newcastle would be pissed. They wouldn't want to let him go. But yeah, if I'm honest, that price is realistic. Someone down there saying chat's got no idea how much players cost. I'll be honest, I've got no idea how much player cost. For real. It's just, I don't know anymore. But I do know that if he does leave, that's how much it's going to cost. And you're talking about Anton Stack and Sander Berge. I spoke about Sander Berge. I think, look, you've got Sander Berge. I think James Garner, did he just sign a new contract to Everton? That's a shame, because he would have been good on a free. Mateus Fernandes from West Ham. Someone's mentioning Alex Scott from Bournemouth. There's quite a few midfielders around. Get Morgan Rogers in. They can't get Morgan Rogers in because there's no space for him. Shame. There's quite a few midfielders at different levels. All right. If you're going to have Sander Berge conversations or even Anton Stack, is he the one from Leeds? I think he is. They're not your 100 mil players, but they're going to be like major upgrades on Ugarte, for example. That in itself is a type of midfielder. You're probably looking in the, I'd say 30 to 50 mil mark to sell Ugarte and to bring a replacement in for him. And then you're looking at the 100 mil marquee midfielder. That's probably what United do. Yeah, Newcastle will ask for a lot. Right, let's wrap today's show up by having a little brief chat about this. In fact, I'll say this. I may as well bring it in. Bring it all back now. Don't know why I'm singing S Club. Where'd that come from? Anyway, Carrick. As I said, I don't particularly think that there is any need to have any conversation every single week about Carrick and the job and this and that and give him the job. No, it's going to get exhausting. I know you want to do it for the headlines, but it's pointless, right? Gary Neville was speaking about, effectively he spoke to the club, and this is what he said about what United are doing in terms of the new manager search. And he said this. It was asked the club, and they've actually begun the process of starting to look for another manager. They've started the process of speaking to and looking at other managers, building all the sorts of data and analysis, who should be the next manager at the club. United have said they're not going to be bounced into making an appointment. They're going to wait until towards the end of the season. If Carrick at that point makes himself available for the job, he would then go into a process versus the likes of Tuchel and all the others that are going to be available in the summer. Right now, we're in not even due diligence stage. Just research. Internal research. That's all we're at. There is no talk every single week about, Carrick this and Carrick that. Got to get the job. Mate, if Carrick goes and they have 13 games undefeated, I don't think he'll be getting the job. But it just doesn't need to be had now. As Gary Neville said, they're having to talk behind the scenes, and that's about it. Someone down there saying, I want to wait till after the World Cup. We're definitely not going to have a full summer and a full preseason for whoever our manager is, unless it's Michael Carrick. If it's not Carrick and it is someone like Tuchel or Nagelsmann or Enrique or whoever else it is, it's very unlikely that they're going to have a full, because of the World Cup. They won't have a full preseason. Right. Last minute or two. Fire any questions. But yeah, Tonali, I've already done a video on that last night. If you want to see my full opinion on that, you can give it a watch. Today's content. Number 1, West Ham starting 11. We'll get that out at lunchtime today. Number 2, we have got the video version of the podcast that we're going to drop at 7:30. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a busy day. We're going to have the live show in the morning. I'll try and get a video out at lunchtime as well, but a video that I think won't really be affected by the result and just a conversation we can have. We'll also then have the pre-match build-up show and then the match reaction. And then, of course, as I said, there's no game after Tuesday for 13 days because we've got knocked out the FA Cup. So we've got a clean weekend coming up, and then the weekend after that, we don't play until Monday morning. So that's what I mean, 13 days. Someone down there saying, if we do not get Carrick, I prefer Tuchel for his personality. He understands players. Dude, with Tuchel, given that Amram had the public fallout, Tuchel's got a history of doing that as well. That would probably be my immediate red flag when it comes to Tuchel. We will do a shirt draw. We did a little push first, and we'll do that in the build-up for the West Ham game. We'll give away one of the black shirts. Actually, that shirt there. How cool is that? That's not a little poster we're putting for sale, but it's just something that one of the lads made in the team. And I was like, that is a class poster. I need to get me one of them. There's some more stuff coming on the merch side of things, by the way. Some more exciting stuff. And at some point, I'll get a TV there. Because there's supposed to be one, but it got smashed. Now, thank you all for tuning in. That's a cracking way to start the week. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing to United People's TV. Join the community. Get involved. I will see you tomorrow morning, live and direct. And yeah, make sure you check out the videos today. Take it easy.